Happy Friday. Today I'm going to be making a Negroni. A Negroni is a classic cocktail, 3 ingredients, plus bitters. And I'm gonna just tweak it just a bit. The Negroni is a very bitter cocktail, typically. It's equal parts gin, sweet vermouth, and Campari. And that Campari tends to really make people struggle with Negroni. It's kind of one of those that you love it or you hate it, and there really isn't an in-between. I like to try and dance on that in-between. My wife, Crystal, does not really care for bitter, so I do try to sweeten things up a little bit for her without making them overly sweet. So I'm gonna add a honey syrup to the Negroni. Everything is equal parts. So normally you do 1 ounce of each ingredient. I'm gonna just add a 1/4 ounce of the honey syrup. My honey syrup is a 2-to-1 honey to water mixture. You throw it in a little pot on a boiler, bring it up to just an almost boil while stirring, and then let it cool, put it in a bottle. It'll last you a week or so. Really good ingredient for cocktails, a little bit richer than a simple syrup, and definitely gives you a honey element that a simple syrup wouldn't do. The other element that I'm gonna add is I actually make my own gin, hence the color. I don't run it through a filter. I kind of like that color of it. But this is just a store-bought vodka. I actually get it from Costco. Costco vodka is $13 to $18 for 1.5 liters, which is 2 bottles, depending on if you're doing domestic or imported. And then I throw this in a bottle with juniper berries, dried juniper berries, for about 2 days, and then add some citrus peels. It gives it a really nice citrus forward note. There's a couple other things in there, some cinnamon, some cardamom, a couple other ingredients, but really gives it a nice juniper forward gin with really good citrus elements. So I'm a big fan of infusing my own gins. So let's start off with just 1 ounce of our gin. Add to that 1 ounce of vermouth, sweet vermouth. On its own, this would help counteract the bitterness of the Campari, but not as much as the honey syrup will. And then 1 ounce of Campari. From this point, I would normally stir with ice and serve. But again, I'm gonna add an extra ounce of my honey syrup. And then just for some seasoning, angostura bitters, just a couple dashes. Just a really nice way to kind of add a little extra plop. So let's add some ice. And this cocktail, in my previous cocktails that I've made, have all been shaken. This guy I'm actually gonna stir. The reason I do that is so that it doesn't dilute quite as much as a shaken. You know, we all know James Bond liked his martinis shaken, not stirred. Well, the reason is he liked a weak martini. Makes sense if you're an international super spy and you're gonna, at any moment have to kick some ass. As far as everybody watching this video knows, I am not an international super spy. And so that is very unlikely to come into play. So I have stirred this for about 30 seconds. Last week when I made my bottled cocktails, I actually did both. And so I compared it by weight, shaking for a 3 ounce cocktail of spirits. Shaking gave me 1.25 ounce of water added to my cocktail, whereas stirring gave me 1 ounce of water to my cocktail. So it dilutes it, but not quite as much. So I'm gonna serve this in an old-fashioned glass with a large ice sphere. The large ice spheres will help control the dilution. So as you drink this, it will evolve with time and change, but with the large sphere, it's not going to dilute as quickly as small form ice. So put that in my glass, garnish with a simple orange twist. The honey Negroni. Enjoy. It's nice.